Hey guys, welcome to my Geekdom. I'm Brianna and I take a little bit of time to talk about all of my favorite things, ranging from anime, tabletop gaming, to film and TV. Today is a holiday special where we're going to be spending some time at the movie mini mart with the 4 films millennials grew up on and how they demonstrate why we are so nostalgic. Surprise, surprise, it's because we are latchkey kids and we grew up spending a lot of time on our own, unsupervised, and just sort of learning how to live. As a reminder, the millennial age, we were born from 1981 to 1996, and the 4 films we're going to be covering are Home Alone, All I Want for Christmas, Christmas Every Day, and a special shout out to Unaccompanied Minors, which while it was released in 2006, the final year of millennial kids was just hitting 10 years old. So I personally still think that it covers all of these reasons or all these things that I'm going to go over that the other films have as well. So strap in, get some popcorn. I apologize for the lack of decoration behind me. I rearranged, so now all the decorations are to my right instead. Anyways, let's get going to the movie mini mart. As the definitely not a holiday song goes, we're going to start at the very beginning, a very good place to start. Home Alone came out in 1990, starring Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, and Catherine O'Hara. It is the story of Kevin McAllister and how on the night before his family left on a holiday trip to Paris, he gets punished and forgotten upstairs in the attic room while all of his family leaves. And in doing so, he fights off 2 burglars who come in and are trying to literally steal Christmas. So this one does not need a lot of explanation. It is the only film of the 4 that we're talking about today where our main character, Kevin, is the youngest sibling. In the beginning of the film, I mean, it's 50-50 how people view this, right? I am a younger sibling, so I grew up wanting and this is my viewpoint for Kevin. Kevin's asking, how do I pack? What do I pack? And nobody is helping him because they each have their own 8 million things to do. And his own sister says, why are you even worried? Mom's just going to do it for you. Kevin was asking for help. He wanted to be taught what to do, and no one was making the time to do so. It could have been 5 minutes of, hey, you're going to need 10 pairs of underwear, 10 pants, 10 shirts, don't forget this. Like, it wasn't going to be that hard. Kevin asked to be shown how to do something, and the others ignored him and treated him badly for it. I was there as a little kid to the point where I would ask for help and then so-and-so would just do whatever. No, I was asking so I could learn, and then I just stopped asking and figured it out on my own. This is instead of saying millennial, I'm going to say latchkey kid because I don't think being a latchkey kid is in any way bad. That is not it at all. It's just that when you spent a lot of time with just your siblings or on your own as a kid, you learned how to do things. Dinner had to be made. Laundry had to get done. Trash had to be taken out. You had to take care of things. You had to do your homework. There wasn't somebody there checking. I was very lucky as a kid. So while I had a single mom, we had family nearby, grandparents who would check in, aunt and uncle, and my cousins who lived, we were all in the same town while spaced apart, but they were around in emergencies. So nobody was you were alone, but there could have been somebody there if they absolutely needed to be. For Kevin, as the youngest, they all state that somebody else will do the work for him, which is nice, but that's not what Kevin wants. And as the film goes on, he is not he's not a whiny baby. He is not. He is fully sufficient. He knows where the grocery store is. He walks there. He uses coupons. He makes his own dinner. He full on survives on his own without assistance. The only time he ever asked for actual help was trying to find out how good of a brand the toothbrush he was buying is. Now, that doesn't even dive into how he built these traps to fight and protect the house against Marv and Harry on their attempts of breaking in. He was able to use a film to scare them off. I mean, he ordered pizza, he climbed Buzz's wall. Like, he knew where Buzz kept his money because he's a little brother and younger siblings, that's kind of what we do. We know where our siblings hide their money. Not saying anything, big brother, but I always knew where it was, and I don't think you ever counted. Anywho, so Kevin uses all of these skills that nobody thinks he has to survive on his own. This is the definition of a latchkey kid. So his family is easily upper middle class based on that house. It's assumed that both of his parents work, which means that he was probably home alone a lot with his older siblings who were reaching into their teen years and probably didn't spend a lot of time paying attention to Kevin. This is all indicators that he probably spent a lot of time alone having to entertain himself. So he was prepared to survive on his own. Like, if he had really wanted to, Kevin could have easily called the cops to tell them, hey, here's the situation. How can you help me? He chose not to. He chose to survive on his own, and he did so successfully. He even endangered the lives of 2 full-grown adults. So what this is all an indicator of for millennials as an adult. This is the first example, because all of these films are an example of it, of how this kid had to grow up very quickly on his own. This is in literally the space of a weekend. He's home alone for 3 days, maybe 4 days. 1 weekend alone. And he learns to manage. He learns to manage so well that when he gets lost and forgotten again in an entirely different city, he is able to get a hotel room, get around the city, find his aunt and uncle's place, set up more traps. He helps capture criminals again. He grew up very quickly, multiple times. I promise you, as an adult, Kevin McAllister is 100% spending his weekends watching cartoons, building Legos. We enjoy these nostalgic things because we had to do these things as well. Now, when you go into All I Want for Christmas, this came out in 1991. It is a forgotten holiday film, but one of my absolute favorites. It stars Ethan Embry, Thora Birch, Lauren Bacall, Kevin Nealon, and Leslie Nielsen as Santa Claus. So the plot of this film is the parent trap at Christmas time. So Thora Birch, this was 91, so it was before she did Hocus Pocus, but she is the cute little sister, and she goes to the Macy's Santa Claus because he's the real guy, but she wishes for their parents to get remarried. They have been divorced for, it's established in the film, for 1 year. Ethan Embry is the older sibling. He would be about 13 or 14 in this movie. And that means that when his parents got divorced, they've been apart for a year. So if he's 14, then when the divorce started, it was 13. He spent, let's say, 1 year we'll say from 12 to 13, watching his parents' marriage fall apart because the dad wanted and did buy a diner in downtown New York, rebuild it, and this became his passion project. He quit his job. They don't establish what his job was, and even upon rewatching it, which I did last night, I'm still not entirely sure what their mother's job was, but I think it's something to do with publishing because she brings books home for the kids in the evening. So she does something in the book world, quite possibly publishing, but possibly in a library. She does something like that. The dad says a line as the parents are arguing about how he gave up their yuppie lifestyle for a dream. And he is making that dream come true. The diner is alive and well, and it is thriving, and the kids like to go spend time with him there working. Child labor. But that's a whole nother point. So that means that in this film, their divorce, again, we're roughing this out, started when he was 12 years old. They establish that Thora Birch's character, Hallie, is only 7 in the film, which means their parents' divorce started when she was 5. Ethan Embry's character is already older, right? There is a significant, about a 7-year age gap between him and his little sister. But in this movie, he is the dream big brother. He picks her up after school. He jokes about wearing her tutu when she talks about how much she hates it. He makes sure that she is protected as much as he can from their parents arguing. He does everything for his little sister to make sure that she is safe and protected. Now, Lauren Bacall is their grandmother, and she was a famous stage actress in this show. She has a huge house. During the divorce, they moved in with their grandma. So it's the mom and the 2 kids living at grandma's. And now mom is dating Kevin Nealon's character, who is this Wall Street guy. In the film, Kevin Nealon is he's not a bad guy, but he is a douche. Like, he is the definition of douche. He clearly doesn't like kids. There's no indicator of him actually having any love for the mom. The proposal isn't even done on screen. Thora Birch overhears Hallie overhears her mom and grandma talking about how she is going to marry Kevin Nealon's character, and then Thora Birch freaks out and she goes to Ethan and she's like, hey, I know you told me not to go see Santa, but a 7-year-old left the house entirely on her own and made it to the Macy's in New York with the real Santa and asked all of this on her own. And now she goes and she tells her brother, I know I did that. I know I already got in trouble, but I screwed up because I asked for our parents to get remarried, but I didn't clarify to each other. This is a trigger for him. He misses his family. He misses how they were together and everything that they used to do. So Ethan Embry's character comes up with a plan, like I said, Parent Trap style, in order to get them alone. This is an elaborate plan that involves going and buying mice at the pet store. They fake an infestation at the house. The mom has to go stay with her friend. The grandma is going to stay at the Carlisle, and Kevin Nealon's character is going to take them to the dad's house for the night. They trick Kevin Nealon into getting into an ice cream truck, and he gets stuck in there all night long until it arrives in New Jersey. The Thora Birch pretends to be sick. The parents are watching over her, and then they are able to reconnect. It's a pretty complex plan. It's not crazy complex, but it works. He gets the job done. But here's the thing. You have a 14-year-old who feels so responsible for his little sister's well-being and her happiness because the parents have been so involved in their own issues. And like, they might love the diner. They have a great, like, it's a cool 50s themed diner. They have this fantastic montage of them working and dancing. Like, it's clear that they love this. The dad is not wrong. The kids enjoy the diner. And he has a line about how they understand when things get crazy. So yes, he's 2 hours late in picking them up, but the kids understand. Yeah, kids understand, but it still hurts. It's as simple as that. There is still parental trauma caused because the parent is prioritizing work over the child. And the child had to grow up to understand why it's important. Why does work matter? So throughout this film, over and over again, it's shown how Ethan Embry specifically, but Thora Birch as well, have to take care of and rely on each other more than their parent. They don't even go to their grandma when there is an issue. They go to each other. Thora Birch's parent in this film is her big brother. Granted, he is, again, like I said, he's the ideal big brother that we wanted in the 90s. Like, there is one big brother, and he was cool, and he either, I loved it in the 90s, there was not a lot of big brothers on television or in film who were in sports. They were either artsy, or in this case, they had a vibe of Ferris Bueller, and he absolutely gives off this vibe. He's a 14-year-old running around New York, getting in and out of places. I think there's they steal a scene from them, him and his would-be girlfriend sneaking into a wedding. Like, it's just fun. It gives these fun vibes. But that fun is also burying the fact that he had to raise his little sister during this time when his parents were apart. I would put money down that Ethan Embry's character grows up to be a writer of some sort, probably focusing on children's books, and probably inspired a lot by, like, I think this guy 100% would have written a children's book about his Christmas experience and how it affected him growing up. Now, there is another character in this film, Stephanie, the would-be girlfriend that he breaks into the wedding with. Why Stephanie is important. When I was younger, I really didn't think Stephanie was important, and technically the film still stands on its own without her. She doesn't really add or take anything away from the movie, except for the biggest thing at the end, which is on Christmas Eve, the kids are all in the diner while their parents are upstairs. Stephanie sneaks out of her house to meet them, and they fall asleep in the diner. So here's the quick background on Stephanie. Stephanie is the daughter of their mom's coworker and friend. They don't establish it clearly, but I think it's easy enough to assume that while her parents were together, they probably spent a lot of time together. The way that Ethan Embry and her just kind of start getting along and talking, there's no weirdness. It's very much like, oh, hey, how have you been? Her parents divorce. She goes to live with her dad. And her mom makes a comment that his latest girlfriend didn't want her around, so thankfully she finally gets to spend time with Stephanie for the holidays. Whatever their divorce was like, the dad clearly got custody. So her mom is really excited to be able to spend some time with her over the holidays. But Stephanie doesn't feel that. There's no part of her in that movie where she's ever worried about what her mom might think. Like, she goes to a museum on her own. She sneaks out to see Ethan Embry's character on her own. She does all of this stuff without ever consulting her mom. And at the end, the kids all arrive back. The adults are freaking out. Her mom had called and gone, "Oh my God, is Stephanie with the kids? I can't find her anywhere." And they tell her to come wait at the house. We'll wait for all the kids to come together. So when the kids arrive, Stephanie says, "Hey, I think I should," this is the first time she thinks about calling her mom. So she goes, "Hey, I think I should call my mom." She goes, "Oh, sweetie, don't even worry about it. Your mom is already on her way. She was so scared. Like, we were all worried. Nobody knew where you were, and we were scared." And Stephanie's reply is like, "Really?" She's honest to God shocked. And when her mom shows up and runs over and hugs her, the actress does such an amazing job of portraying what it felt like when you don't think your parents care, when you don't have that feeling. So however that divorce went down, they left Stephanie completely on her own, feeling so unloved that it's very easy to assume she was just a tool in the parents' divorce that the dad feels like he won. I got custody, so even though the mom wants to spend time with her, she legally can't, from the assumptions we make in the film. This is a very 90s thing. Yes, Kevin's parents are still together. This is the first film. We've got the divorced parents. And there is a line that Ethan Embry says at the end when he's explaining what happened. And he looks over at Stephanie and her mother hugging and reuniting. And then he turns to his parents and he starts to go into this explanation. And he says, "I know some parents shouldn't be together." And he's looking at Stephanie. Then he switches back to his parents and he goes, "But you guys should be." So he's openly acknowledging that, yeah, some marriages don't work out. And he sees that in his friend and in this girl that he likes, who is someone, again, that we assume he's known for a very long time. And it is for the better that they aren't together. But he believes in his heart, and his dad had said, if I could only get her alone on a desert island, then maybe we could talk and I could explain it to her. And that's where this whole idea for the parent trap came from. Get them locked alone in the house together and they can communicate their feelings and their issues to see if they can really work it out. I love this movie. This, again, is the example of these kids had to grow up even though they come from a very wealthy background. It's indicated that, because the dad said yuppie, so they're minimum upper middle class, if not lower upper class, like they were doing well for each other. The mom still has a very good paying job. The dad now owns a diner that's very successful. It's gonna take work, but these kids have everything. They don't need anything else, not with their lifestyle. But it is missing that parental support, because parents are people and they are going through their own issues and they are dealing with their own things. But the kids still need to be part of that. Now, they're not neglected in any significant way. These aren't latchkey kids. They have someone around them, but they choose. It's that very independent of, like, you see it a lot in things that are based in New York, where New York teens just go out and do whatever and nobody's ever worried about them, especially if they have money. Like, it's a weird thing. That is not something in real life I am used to somebody needed to know, you needed to leave a note as a kid in the 90s. Like, yeah, I'm gone, but I walked 5 miles to Jennifer's house. I'll be back later. Like, we still had to communicate. You leave a note, you call and leave a message on the answering machine. Someone will get it, but they still had to know where you were. So, yes, I do believe that these kids would grow up to be just as nostalgia loving as the rest of us, especially in regards to books and reading, because it plays a very large part throughout the film. Hallie is a big reader. She's in the middle of reading Old Yeller. Even Ethan Embry's character is a big reader as well. Like, they show the importance. So I think that they would go back and be comfort readers. He would write children's books, something along the lines of being able to do whatever you want in New York, like Eloise style is what I would see him writing. And then Stephanie is that entire, I've felt completely forgotten. There is no indicator from my parents, so she's very shut off and quiet. Like, she's not a mean kid or a bad kid in any way. She is just a more quiet kid because she's had to entertain herself. Again, this is probably a longer divorce and separation from the way the mom acts. So let's say at least 5 years. So if she's 14, then it started when she was 9, and she had to entertain and take care of herself being with a dad who doesn't seem to actually want her, especially the way he goes through women. Like, again, it's a complete assumption. As much as I love this film, they don't make it clear. Everything you learn about Stephanie is done just through offhanded conversations that are like in the background. You have to pay attention to notice them, which would not fly in today's media at all. Like, I cannot imagine a movie where in the process of introducing a character, it's while her mom and her mom's best friend are talking over her while she is focused on and doing something else. I just don't think in today's world anyone would really pay attention enough to be like, oh, these are important things. Not just that she's staring at a boy. It's not just about the boy. It's about what's actually being said over and around her, which again is highlighting how she feels excluded. Her mom is openly talking about her and how proud she is of Stephanie and all of her interests, the fact that she loves art, and how, like, she talks about how mature she is and how she doesn't even recognize her anymore. Those are all sad things. They aren't compliments. It's, I've been away from my daughter for so long, I can't recognize who she is. And that sucks. Like, Stephanie's story is actually really sad for somebody who's on screen for 15 minutes tops. That might be stretching it. Most of that is their, like, date that has nothing really to do with the film whatsoever. And yet somehow they still are able to fit in this side quest date with the main storyline in 90 minutes. Oh, God, I miss my 90-minute movies. I'm not gonna lie, I truly miss them. Now it is time for another one of my favorites. This was in 1996, made for TV, starring Eric Von Detten, Robert Hayes, and Bess Armstrong, called Christmas Every Day. If you are a millennial, you were around when Freeform was ABC Family, and before 25 Days of Christmas, there's 12 Days of Christmas, and Christmas Every Day made it onto that list every year. Of course I had a crush on Eric Von Detten. Of course I was there for Escape to Witch Mountain and Dinotopia, the TV series, not the movie. And let's see, the the one with all the brothers where he's like on TGI Friday. They tried to make Disney worked so hard to get Eric Von Detten after Brink something, right? We all love him. We all love his floppy blonde hair and his big old eyes. Yeah, everybody loves Eric Von Detten. All right, so the plot of Christmas Every Day is Groundhog's Day, but Christmas. So you start on day 1. He is probably about 13 years old in this movie, and he is a very typical teenager. The background for the family is they are probably lower middle class, like maybe middle class, because their dad owns a shop in town that has been passed down through years, so it belonged to their grandfather. I don't recall if, because I owned it and then I went to go watch it and it's not there anymore, Amazon, or fingers crossed I just skipped over it and I can go back in and find it again when I'm not like rushing through going, where's my movie? Okay, so yes, his family owns a business and they probably do well enough that he never hears his parents talk about money. That is the assumption, because they're also making it clear in this film that small towns are going away, that these main street stores are slowly fading, and that, I mean, this was the rise of Walmart. Not exactly, but it was upcoming. These smaller stores were gonna be a thing of the past, and that actually is a focus of this film. So they probably just did well enough, and because this is their family's hometown, not just his, but his parents grew up here too, he probably had no idea what their money situation was like, and if there were issues, because in a smaller town like this, there's probably more than a month or so where they were running a little bit tighter. So when it starts, it's a grocery store that the family owns, and he's supposed to run this small order out to a little old lady who gets the same thing every week. He doesn't do it. He sets up a prank at the Christmas play, so instead of snow falling, it's water. He doesn't take care of the driveway, which was supposed to be his responsibility, and his aunt, uncle, and cousins speed into the driveway and they crash into the garage. They find out that the uncle is bringing a mini mart, I think is what it is. But basically he's bringing a business to the town that will put their dad's business out of commission. It will all go downhill. So those are the main things for what goes wrong that he has to take care of. At the end of the day, evidence of how 2 kids, 1 household, 2 totally different experiences. The little sister climbs into bed with him and says, "I wish it could be Christmas every day." So this is another indicator that while he is an incredibly typical preteen and he's cranky and emotional and going through all the changes, he still takes care of his little sister to the point where this 6 or 7-year-old feels comfortable enough to go into her brother's room, talk about how great a day she had, and wish for it to be Christmas every day, completely missing his full-on pouty pre-emo stage. He wakes up, it is Christmas again. So he goes through all of the typical things, and throughout the process, he learns that the little old lady doesn't have any money. He takes her food, but he also introduces her to the cranky next door neighbor. He learns that his mom had dreams. She wanted to be a painter. He finds her old easel upstairs and he fixes it up. So he is talented enough to fix up this easel. It didn't take a lot of work, you know, sand it down, quick coat, but he takes care of it. He makes sure his little sister has a good time. He fixes the snow so it falls pretty, and he learns about the issues between his aunt and uncle and the problems with their marriage. He learns that his little cousin doesn't feel like her parents actually care about her. They are so focused on money. She's a little bratty kid because she has nobody to actually focus on her. So she acts out because they are the richer side, the more wealthy side of the family. So she does what rich kids do in film and television, and she starts petty theft and does little stupid things like that to try to get attention because she doesn't want to go back to boarding school. She wants her parents to actually spend Christmas with her. And then he learns about his dad and uncle, and he gets them to talk, and the uncle says, "You and Dad always had this great relationship. I started my business so I could show Dad how good I am, that I can run a business too, but it didn't matter. He left the business to you, and I've always been jealous of it." So throughout Christmas every day, Eric Von Denton's character is learning that parents are people and that his actions have consequences that affect others, and that others have lives as well. They have things going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. This little old lady is ordering cat food not for her cats, but for herself. While they don't have all the money in the world, the dad's putting in a few extra groceries here and there when he can to support her. So while he is older than Macaulay Culkin's character in Home Alone and older than Ethan Embry's character was when his parents got divorced originally, he didn't need to be a latchkey kid. I don't think there's any indicator in this film that he was a latchkey kid. But in that one day that lasted like a year, who knows how long it went on for, I think in film, it probably repeats 9 or 10 times. But he has to grow up, and he learns that lesson that our parents are people, and he takes on more responsibility. He might actually end up being the most well-adjusted of all of these kids because he had that time to be a kid longer than the others. But I still think that this one has a reverse effect, right? So the others, they had to become adults at a younger age. He becomes an adult at a later age, so technically more well-adjusted, but he learns his lesson in such a way, in such a strong way, that it's probably going to affect him as an adult, where he's 100% going to be believing in Santa. He's more than likely going to go more all out at Christmas time. And I don't mean like crazy decorations. I mean, he's probably giving a lot more throughout the year. He probably does the giant tree. Like, he probably celebrates the holiday as an adult in a way that makes people probably like a little bit annoyed. Like, what is this guy's problem? Why does he have so many holiday sweaters? It's still that indicator that we were growing up at a young age, being adults in a child's body while still being children. Now for our honorable mention, Unaccompanied Minors from 2006, starring Dylan Christopher, Tyler James Williams, Louis Black, and Wilmer Valderrama. Now there is a much larger cast involved here, but we're just keeping it short because, again, this is a giant cast. So this is Home Alone in an airport. The story is that villain Christopher plays Spencer, and he and his little sister are flying from California to the East Coast to spend Christmas with their dad. They are unaccompanied minors, and when they land in, I think it's like Buffalo or something, there's a huge snowstorm and all of the flights are grounded. So the kids are stuck in the airport. There's an unaccompanied minors room. It's full of kids. There's a wonderful joke about it being the Lord of the Flies, and everybody's going crazy. So he and several of the other kids see a moment where Wilmer Valderrama is being like overrun, and they sneak out. Lewis Black is the cranky boss of the airport who is supposed to be having vacation in Hawaii, but due to the grounded flights, has to stay and instead take care of all the cranky passengers left in the airport. Mayhem ensues. They get caught. He punishes them because all the other kids have been basically like shipped off to a Marriott right down the hill. You know, whatever airport or hotel is right next to him, that's where the kids go. And his little sister is so excited for Santa. There's a moment where she says, if we lived here, Santa would be bringing me my new doll at 4:30 a.m. Versus whatever time when they're at their dad's place. So they get back, the rest of the kids are gone, and now Spencer is feeling guilty. He has to be there for his sister. And Lewis Black says, tough luck, blah, blah, blah. They do all sorts of crazy shenanigans. He finds a doll, and they try to get it to his sister for Christmas. It's successful. Everybody learns a lesson. It's all happy. Yay, I love it. It literally is a great Christmas movie. I love this holiday film. But here is, again, the point. He is same age range, probably about 14 years old, maybe a freshman in high school. Their parents' divorce was clearly not good. This did not go well. You could look at All I Want for Christmas. That was probably a pretty okay divorce. They definitely did their best to keep the kids out of it. But from the way that Spencer acts, because there's a comment that his little sister makes and says, well, can't we call mom to come get us? And he goes, mom would not drive 2,000 miles to come get us. And then she goes, well, what about dad? And he goes, dad's not driving a mile to come pick us up. So he has no faith in his parents. The movie literally opens with him taking his little sister to see Santa and dealing with her hissy fit. Like, I think they balance it very well with, he's a little bit more aggressive. He's that perfect blend of Eric Von Denton's character and Ethan Embry's, because he's taking care of his little sister, but he is also a preteen teenager. He wants his space. He wants his independence. He wants to impress this pretty rich girl. Like, he needs a breath. When he leaves and he orders food, he's ordering it all for himself, except for mozzarella sticks, which he orders for Mindy. So this movie is so stacked with people. But the point is, he's taking a break the way that parents talk about taking a break. He's looking at this room full of crazy kids that he refers to as Lord of the Flies. And he's like, I cannot deal with this right now. I'm already looking after her. I need 5 minutes. He takes 5 minutes, and then he gets punished for taking 5 minutes. And he does everything in his power to get to his little sister, to understand Lewis Black's character. Eventually, it doesn't start with them, with him caring anything about him. Like, this is just, you're the bad guy. You're the hurdle I need to get over to get to my sister, to get to Christmas. And that's so sad. Right? This kid is a millennial. 2006 release. This is when the last millennial is going to be about 10 years old. But the people who wrote it, the kid acting in it, this is again another film about this preteen teenager who had to grow up and take care of a younger sibling. And this younger sibling, she's she's probably the brattiest of everybody. I still don't think she's a horrible jerk or anything. But when she has to have her hair braided and she's tortured by this other little girl, you're kind of like, I don't feel bad. This is okay. You might deserve this a little bit. Like, she's not a bad kid, but she is a lot. And coming from a person who's a lot, that's saying something. But again, Spencer, the other kids in this film, Tyler James Williams' character, he is the child of divorced parents flying back and forth. He relates to people because he flies as an unaccompanied minor so much. It opens with him saying, aren't polls a great way to get to know your fellow man? Like, he does not know how to communicate with other kids. You have like the big bulky red-haired kid who's probably like 9. He gets picked on for playing with action figures for no reason. And they flash back to his stepdad telling him how to be a real man. So he goes out on his own and he gets a Christmas tree for this airport that has no decorations because Louis Black hates Christmas so much. Which is fair. The guy's Jewish. Like, they should have had a oh my god, now I'm just reimagining the whole film where he's trying to teach them about Hanukkah. And like the only decoration instead of a green triangle tree is a menorah. That would have been great. Like, what a different film. Oh my god, no, I'm fully loving this. You go into an airport, there's no holiday decorations of the Christmas kind. Instead of green and red, there's blue and silver. There's the Star of David and there's menorahs everywhere. Oh my god, this is great. I want that. Like, I get so mad. This is such a side tangent, but I get so mad that you don't hear any Hanukkah songs. Okay, I am not Jewish. I don't celebrate Hanukkah, but I am a retail worker. I do listen to the same damn Christmas songs on repeat for an entire month or longer, depending on which job it was. And there's no variety. My personal Christmas list has a great collection of Hanukkah songs. There's so many, but no. Okay, anyways, back to the point. So this kid had to grow up quickly in what was clearly a messy divorce. He has no faith in either of his parents, and he doesn't gain any at the end in his mom, not really, not in comparison to the faith he gains in his dad, because the dad makes a multi-state journey in his piece of crap car. He borrows somebody's Hummer, like he breaks all of his moral codes to reach his kids in this huge blizzard and snowstorm. So Spencer is finally seeing, oh my god, I think my dad actually, he cares about us. This is crazy. Who knew? I think he gains just a little bit more respect for his mom. Again, that relationship is not as bad, but it's clearly not great, because there's a moment when they're getting on the plane and she yells, "I love you," and he just full on ignores her. This is definitely a kid, as again evidenced by how he has to take his little sister to see Santa. And there's a moment where they reveal, for those of us who were around and know, that his coat came from Kmart, so they don't make a lot of money. These are indicators that the mom probably has to work incredibly hard, and they are latchkey kids. These kids definitely come home I see him making dinner or lunch. Like, again, there's no physical evidence, but those verbal cues, and if you grew up at that time, you know what they indicate. And it's not bad. It is not bad in any sense. Again, I was a latchkey kid. I was raised by television. It was me and my big brother home, and in an emergency, sure, you can call grandma and grandpa, but like, this is what you do. You come home, you get your homework done, you do these things. As an adult, I have a Squishmallow collection. I have a gnome collection. You guys, again, can't see it now, but you used to see my pile of pop. Actually, no. Here, look. Hold on. Look. Look, I made them pretty. I made them pretty. They weren't pretty before, now they're pretty. Okay, hold on. Yeah, my pop sockets, my Lego collection. My brother, he is married. He has a child. I love money. I love money so much. She's my whole heart. But he and my sister-in-law, my brother, has a huge Lego collection, a ridiculous Lego collection. Like mine is, ooh, this one's cute. This is one of my favorite things. No, his is insanity, and he has been collecting since he was a child. Every Lego set he's ever purchased or was given as a gift from childhood on, he has all of it. We are movie people. We are book people. We love stories. We love to sit down and watch our favorite cartoons and introduce my niece to our favorite things so that she can learn about them. This is the nostalgia and the toys and the fun that millennials get picked on about. You're a 37, 40-year-old person. Why are you building Legos? Why aren't you building Legos? All right, the world's been falling down around us, and we had to grow up when we were just 10 years old. We had to take care of ourselves, and the world hasn't stopped falling down. In fact, it's gotten worse. We were raised to believe that we could do whatever, right? So we find joy in these smaller things. We play with toys, we watch cartoons, we cry at Toy Story because we are mourning what we lost a little bit as children and celebrating those moments and those things that did bring us joy. Do I have 10 different holiday sweaters? Yes. Well, I'm not wearing them right now, but I have a whole box full of Christmas earrings. I am not really in the holiday spirit this year, but I still talk about how, like, my belief in Santa isn't about Santa Claus the man. It is about what the actual spirit of the season is supposed to be. About giving and understanding and taking joy from the little moments and the people we care about. Like, that is what millennials have tried, and I think continue to try to do, with all the nostalgia that people make fun of us for. Do we love listening to rewatch podcasts? Like, my go-to is the Pod Meets World podcast, where it is Danielle Fishel, Ryder Strong, and Will Friedle talking about Boy Meets World, and then Will Friedle and Sabrina Bryan also have their DCOM podcast, which is the name is escaping me right now. But, you know, there is my childhood. I get joy. I watched all 99 out of 100 of those original DCOMs. Listening to them talk about them, to Sabrina Bryan's experience being a cheetah girl, what it was like for Will Friedle to be this kind of heartthrob that he didn't really realize that he was and can't believe that he was, which is so adorable. But he's watching these films, and for the very first time, she's seen quite a few of them. Oh, I just got real close to the camera to put that pen away. Anyways, so like it brings me joy. Does it hurt when they don't love the ones I love? Absolutely, but it still brings me joy. When Disney Plus came out, the first thing I did was search through for all of my favorite TV shows and films from a kid. I put on So Weird the second it came out. I was not a Jonas Brothers kind of girl, but do I enjoy Camp Rock? Yes. Did I like the Jonas Brothers TV show? Yes, because it reminded me of the Monkees, which I watched on repeat on ABC Family before it was Freeform. Like, that's the stuff that people look at our generation and go, why is this still bringing you so much joy? Because something has to. And those 4 films, Home Alone, All I Want for Christmas, Christmas Every Day, Unaccompanied Minors, are a time capsule of why we want that joy now, why we want to relive it. Because we started as adults young. Now we have to be real adults in the way of paying the bills, not just being emotional support for adults, parents, older siblings, younger siblings, whatever the setup was. We have time to enjoy ourselves, or we try to make a little bit of time to enjoy ourselves to keep from going completely insane, because frankly, the drugs don't always help 100%. They definitely improve my mental stability, but they are not the only answer. We need that nostalgia. We need that reminder of a time or a heartbeat or 2 hours of watching cartoons on Saturday morning while eating cereal. Like, just a breath of it's okay to relax and just love something for the pure joy of loving it. And I hope that makes sense. I feel like it does. Now, side note, really thinking about Christmas movies, why is it that the ones for kids, all I could really find are ones where it's a boy? Like, there's Miracle on 34th Street, but the 90s remake doesn't count for what I'm looking at because it was based on an earlier film. The DCOM ones, they do have, what was it? The Ultimate Christmas Present. Okay, Ultimate Christmas Present could have worked. I haven't seen it in forever, but it's the story of a girl who finds Santa's weather machine, and she lives in California. She makes it snow and the machine breaks, and now there's a giant snowstorm. Actually, no, that one would have worked, because I think a year lines up. It was probably in 2000, 2001. Hold on, let me go find out. Okay, yeah, I was right. It was in 2000. So she's the older sibling with a younger brother, and she doesn't want to go to school because she didn't do her homework. I think you could describe them as latchkey kids. The mom is not a chef, but she's a chef, but she does catering. There we go. She does catering. and the daughter, I think, is expected to do some work there. She's definitely expected to take care of her little brother. So yeah, I probably could have watched The Ultimate Christmas Present. Basically, it was hard to find examples of holiday films with a female star as a kid. There's 8 million Hallmark, Lifetime, whatever films that are led by women. I'm saying I'd like to see more of a reverse. There's Eloise at the Plaza at Christmas time. That one's cute. But I can legit only think of 3 Christmas movies for kids where the main kid is a girl and not a boy. And then reverse, it's hard to think of an adult Christmas film where the main character is a man instead of a woman, unless it's a couple. I mean, nope, never mind. There's just more. They just outweigh it. Here I am. Duh. Santa Claus, Single Santa Seeks Mrs. Claus. There's a whole list, but it's usually he's Santa. It's usually he's Santa, not he's leaving his crazy 6-figure job in New York to marry his high school sweetheart. So maybe work on that. Let's even that guy out a little bit. I like when I think I have a point and then I'm talking it out and I go, oh, nope, figured it out. Yeah. So all I'm saying, I guess, is not that there aren't any, but that it's just a little uneven. And I think it's time that we had another kids' holiday film. It's been probably a bit since we had something like the ones that I mentioned. And I think most of the kids' holiday films, if they aren't animated, they were on Disney Channel. And they haven't had one that I can think of in a very long time. All right, I think that is going to wrap it up for me today. Thank you guys so much for visiting my geekdom, and I will see you next time.